bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's Tuesday night, and that means the high school fan zone is back for the second night this week. The first night with Monterey as we jump into the Plainsman fan zone with Judd Thrash to my far left if you're watching on TV. And he's brought two of his offensive linemen don't mind if I call them big uglies. Do defensive guys like that or no?
I'm more of a crazy type, so you can
there you go.
Crash out.
So we're with L.A. Williams, who I told has one of the best names in Lubbock football, and Welton Anzley, defensive tackle and defensive end/tackle. And Judd, I think I mentioned this to you afterwards. I can't remember. There's a lot better mood, a little bit more energy with this group after you got done Friday night. 42-12 against Coronado. Got that first district win. Broke a 4-game losing streak. Did you guys win the season opener or
second game?
Second game.
Or
okay.
Third game.
Broke. You got back in the win column. Let's just describe it that way. And you looked really good doing it. There was, when you walked in, you mentioned that you guys played a really good game. And I know it. You get a win, it doesn't matter. But coaches like when you get a win and they can tell you how well you guys played. So you guys wrapped all that up in a nice bow against Coronado. This week, right back into the rivalry grind. You played Lubbock High. First time Judd's coached against them. You guys played them as freshmen, probably freshman or JV. I believe, I would go out on a limb here, I'd say this is the oldest rivalry in Lubbock because Monterey was the second high school. I don't think Dunbar and Lubbock High played back then, so you don't have to get fired up, and Lubbock High won't have to work to get fired up because Lubbock High's the underdog. They're 3-2, but they're the underdog. They're going to be ready to go. So I'm going to start with you guys. Talk about just and I mentioned this before we started, big win, emotional win. I'm going to get Coach to answer this after you guys, so I'm going to guess he's talked to you about this a little bit. How do you make sure there's not a letdown this week?
Well, for starters, Monday probably wasn't our best day, but we bounced back today, and we had way more focus, staying more focused, of course, in practice because honestly, they may be the underdog, but they can still come whoop us at the end of the day. And you never know, you just got to go out and play.
It's human nature to enjoy a win and to kind of feel your oats a little bit. And you guys are young, so when you're younger, you feel your oats a lot more than us old dudes do. But L.A., what kind of piggyback on what he said? Practice wasn't great. How did coaches get your attention?
Well, they told us basically if we don't come focused and physical in this game, we easily can lose. So we're in district play now, so every little thing matters. Even the little practices, if you mess up a little bit, that goes into the game, that messes us up during the game and stuff. So, we had to recalibrate after Monday, had to really focus in and lock in because even though it's Lubbock High, people are saying they're the underdog and going into this game. They could easily beat us. They got a couple good players on that team, and they can sling the rock a little bit. So we got to be more focused going into practice. And like I said, more physical. The physical team is always going to win more. So win in the trenches, and we're going to be just fine. That's how I feel about it.
I tagged them as the underdog, but this is a better Lubbock High team than Coach got here the same year as Juan Rodriguez, their coach. This is the best team he's had. It's the best team they've had in a while. So, Judd, I know you're a Nick Saban fan. I see you post stuff that he says, and I got to know him a little bit. One of his big things is he didn't enjoy wins very long. As many games as they won, as soon as you could, even after national championship games, you could see the wheels. He's already. Did you let yourself enjoy that one Friday night a little bit?
I say, I enjoyed it Friday and probably a little bit Saturday morning, and then it was over with for me. We came out and played a good, clean game. That's what I was most proud of our team because the games that we've lost, it wasn't really due to the other team because they out-physicaled us. They were faster than us, better than us. It was self-inflicted. It was due to turnovers or errors. And we came out Friday and played an error-free game. We didn't have any turnovers, I don't think.
Nope.
No turnovers. We limited our penalties and just played a physical brand of football and just lifted each other up on the sideline. We stayed behind each other, and it's like I told them, if we do that, we're going to be hard to beat. If we'll play within ourselves and not beat ourselves, because our biggest opponent is Monterey. It's not the other team. We got talent, we got players. It's not football, it's mental for us. And so we worked real hard on that all week, is working on the mental part of the game, and it paid off. We came out and we played a physical brand of football. We were firing off. We had our pullers on the O-line. We're getting on their linebackers, and then on defense, we put a lot of pressure on their quarterback. And we missed a couple tackles on the screenplay that they had, but other than that, man, we played solid football on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they're one of their dudes made a play. Marion made I saw it on video. I watched. He made a one-handed grab, and then he did what he does. At times, he's a good running back. So, as much as you might have loved having a great practice when you got him back Monday, I know you well enough to imagine you didn't mind that it was a little bit shaky, because that gives you that material. So these guys talked about it. How did you get them locked back in?
Picked up the intensity. It all starts with the leader. And so today, I was flying around and making sure that everybody was on point. It's like I told them. I said, if you're not doing your job, I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable. And that's what we did today. If somebody wasn't doing their job, we made them feel uncomfortable. Got another guy in, rotated guys. If you didn't do your job and you didn't come to practice, and we limited your snaps today. It's just you got to get out there and compete, and so we pushed them today, and I felt like they responded well. And so today was a really great practice, probably one of the best we've had.
The work.
Yeah, it did. They did.
LA said, yeah, it did.
And we went to the ground a lot. That's another thing.
That's what you told me you were going to do last week a lot.
Yeah, it helped last week. We had the least amount of missed tackles that we've had all year. We got to go to the ground. If you're going to be a good tackling team, you got to go to the ground. You always worry about injuries as a coach, but this last week and this week, we've been going to the ground, because that's what it takes to be a good defensive football team.
And they were a good defensive and offensive football team last Friday against Coronado. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and then switch gears and talk about Lubbock High. That game, Monterey-Lubbock High, the battle for the Silver Spurs, 7 p.m. Friday at Lowry Field. That's on 93.7 The Eagle. Pre-game will be at 6:30 with David Thetford and Randy Dean. We'll be back in the Plainsman Fan Zone after the break on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the second segment of the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. I'm joined by Judd Thrash, Monterey's third-year coach, L.A. Williams, and I just enjoy saying your name. Could you tell how that rolled off? Yeah. And Welton Anzley. Your name's cool, too. I don't want to make you feel bad. Coming off a 42-12 win against Coronado, heading into a battle Friday against Lubbock High. And we're going to talk about the Westerners a little bit here in a minute, but I want to stick with the Coronado game. I just asked Coach this off the air. And it's not something like it sneaks up on you the way you guys ran the ball so well, but when we got to the end of the night, I was tallying up my stats. I had you guys running for 394 yards. First of all, never. It's been a while since I've seen a team run the ball that well. And then I ask you, that's as many yards as you guys have run the ball in your 3 years. So there was a lot going on. And Andrew, I don't know if you'd already called your guys the three-headed monster, but Andrew Roy gave him that nickname after the game. He kind of shook his head and said that three-headed monster is hard to stop.
Yeah, they all have different talents. Kyrie's a big battering ram. But he's got a lot of speed too. But he'll make you pay with his stiff arm. Dez is a great vision back. He's good with the outside zone. He's going to find a patient. He's going to slice you. And then Deuce is full steam ahead. He's just a quick guy. I mean, his first step's real quick. So they're all three different types of backs. And then when you have fresh legs by each one of those guys, that's a good thing, because you're going to get their best because they're going to be rested. And I can't say enough good things about that O-line. They've done a great job. And that's been one of the things about Monterey that's impressed me is we got a lot of linemen all the way from 8th grade to 12th grade. We got tons of linemen, and they did a great job. I mean, you go back and watch the film, they pulled, and they were getting on those linebackers. I mean, they did a great job of freeing those backs. And so it's a big game. 2 to handle that game. We got wrapped up in the emotion of the game last year. We focused on playing our game, and it paid off. We came out and we were just toughness. That's what I like to see. I was impressed with that game. I've never seen us play such a good football game. I was very impressed. I told them it was the best masterpiece I've seen since I've been here. It was clean. And if we'll play clean football, we got a chance to go a ways. And we can play with anybody if we'll play a clean game.
We're going to talk about you guys here in just a second. But first of all, you got to get either your stat guy or me was 5 yards off. So I gave you 5 extra yards. So you better. I don't know if it's Ralph or what, but according to the stats that I got from Ralph Ramon, my friend, the baseball coach, it was a few weeks ago, one of your guys told me Ralph's one of the guys that gets them fired up, and that still rattles around in my head because he's so mild-mannered in baseball. He had Des Williams for 18 carries, 164, Kyrie with 15 carries, 137, and then Deuce 9 for 91. So you came that close to having 3 guys crack that 100-yard mark. You guys are watching from the sideline. You see them in practice. When those guys are running like that, do you feel bad for the other defense, or are you kind of glad you're not out there?
So we in practice, we go against them a lot. So them at the back position, you always know it's going to be a little harder to stop them. So when we on the sideline watching that, all you can do is pray for the other team, man. That's all you can do. Because once they find that little sliver in the defense, they're gone, and they're busting out for yardage. So I love watching them play, and I love being on the team. So when I'm on the sideline, I'm cheering. I'm cheering for all my boys running. That's all I'm doing.
At least 2 of those guys spend a lot of time on defense with you, too.
Yeah. My brother, Des Williams, and then my good close friend, Kyrie Baxter. Man, he's a dog at linebacker, too.
Yes.
They come down and they hit. So it's kind of crazy to me because as me being one way, like I just see them go from 3 and out, running all over the field, and they go and touch the rock and running for 100-something yards. It's crazy. It's surreal, honestly. And they run the ball well.
If you're on defense against a team that's got 3 backs like you guys do, how do you figure out how to adjust from one guy to the other? Is that doable?
It's very doable, yes. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, y'all call them the 3-headed monster for a reason. They're pretty, I would say, almost unstoppable, especially like Coach Thrash said, fresh feet constantly, yeah, that'll get them going.
Kyrie hit harder on defense or offense?
I would say defense still, because he's more of a stiff arm guy when it comes to offense, but he'll light you up still.
And when I was interviewing Des afterwards, I said to him, I said, you guys do not run very much the same. He got a big smile on his face. I said, you're pretty patient. Kyrie, there's not much patience to Kyrie's game. He's going to find somebody. He's like a heat-seeking missile. He's going to find somebody and run into him or run over him. So we'll talk a little bit more about defense when we come back. I promise. He brought defensive guys, so we're going to – because you guys, there's a little bit different challenge against Lubbock High. They are not real, I don't know if fancy is the right word. They do some things on offense that will test the defense. You guys will have your chance to stop a pretty good running back Friday night. We'll come back and talk more Monterey Lubbock High on the Plainsman Fan Zone after the break. This is 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to 100.7 The Score, the Tuesday night high school fan zone. We're in the Plainsman Fan Zone right now. We're talking with Judd Thrash, Welton Anzley, and L.A. Williams. Guys, if we talked about your backs, they're really good. You've got the 3-headed monster. Lubbock High's kind of got a 1-headed monster. Braden Dunkerson, he's a big old fullback in a tailback's body. He actually has more rushing yards than anybody in the city right now. They've played different teams than you have, but he's got 709 yards through 5 games. He's had a couple of big games. He got bottled up the other day by Tascosa, but when you've looked at him on video, he's much different than DeMarion. You guys did a great job against DeMarion, but when you see number 8 for Lubbock High, what are the challenges for you guys, especially up front?
Up front is honestly we just gotta make the tackle. We have them. If we have a wrap up, we just gotta drive our feet. Sometimes watching our film, our feet would be lacking when we make first contact. So as long as we put him hats on him and driving our feet, we can keep him contained. Honestly, that's how I feel about the situation.
Because he's kind of like Kyrie. He doesn't try to scoot to the outside. He's coming north and south. He wants the contact. I think he played linebacker before he was a running back. Welton, when you see him on video, what caught your attention about him?
I mean, yeah, it's mainly how hard he'll run the ball, and I'll give him that. But again, I feel like up front we've been doing really good, and we've been getting better every single week. And I feel like, yeah, he's good, but of course he's still stoppable.
And one of you guys mentioned that they do fling it a little bit. Derek Torres is their receiver. They don't have as many weapons as you guys, but they have some good weapons. I think one of you mentioned that. Derek's been around forever. I guess you guys have probably played against him when you were younger, and he can do some things if you get the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Knowing that, your defensive backs are kind of going to have to handle that, but how important is it for you guys to get some pressure on their quarterback, Zach Radnia, and kind of speed him up a little bit?
It's important. We got to get back there. And their QB does run the ball a little bit. I saw that. So when we get up there, we need to contain a little bit more. Watch that QB draw, HB draw, stuff like that. So because we're going to get up there, we're going to get in their face, make them a little bit uncomfortable, throw some bad passes, and hopefully get some opportunities off of that and keep it rolling. We just got to get back there, great stances, great get-offs, good handwork, and, we should be fine.
Judd, I wanted them to talk about what they face. You've got to kind of oversee the whole thing. What about their defense do you guys have to kind of prepare for and be ready for?
I think they just hustle. We've got to be ready for them. They're a good hustling team, and so we just got to execute, not turn over the ball, have ball security, find good windows in the passing game, just play a clean game, eliminate the turnovers like I've talked about, and I think we'll be fine. Like you mentioned on offense, they got the running back and quarterback. They're good players, but we gotta come out and play, and we can't. It's not about Lubbock High; it's about us. And that's what I told them this week. We're not focused on the Spurs and all that stuff. We got to get better. I mean, this is the heart of the season. You want to be playing your best football, late, and you want to be golden in November. That's one thing that Chad Morris always talked about, being golden in November, and we're approaching November. We got to be playing our best football.
And you guys knew it. You felt this last week, being 0-1 in district. You don't want that. You don't want that to slip to 0-2. So they're going to have a lot of energy. They're going to come out and not want to be 0-2. They want to get back to even as well, matching their energy. And I'm guessing that was part of the conversation after Monday. How do you do that, LA? How do you guys make sure that, because they're going to come out fired up? It's weird when you guys play, two teams play at Lowry Field, because you're the home team, but nobody's really. Yeah, you're both the home team.
Yeah. So one, we gotta keep our emotions composed a little bit. We don't want unnecessary flags and stuff like that. So going there, we gotta be focused, composed, and being physical. If they come out there in injury, we just gotta knock it out of them. That's all it is. We gotta hit them, and as long as we keep putting that hat on them, keep driving our feet, and making a physical game, that's how we're gonna win. So that's how I feel about most of these games. We just gotta go in there, be physical, establish the line of scrimmage, and whoop the guy in front of us, and that's all to it.
That's pretty. What do coaches say? Blocking and tackling. If you do both those things pretty well, you'll be all right. Welton, real quick, what do you guys have to do to stack another good performance on top of last week?
Again, it's mainly just keeping our focus and keeping our composure in the game, because there's been times before where we've put ourselves down, not even losing, really just, I wouldn't even say we necessarily lost in the game due to really stats or anything, or just how we played. We let our emotions get to us, and it allowed us to just kind of start going downhill. We let the momentum change, and I feel like if we keep the momentum up all game, stay on them at all, the whole time, they won't be able to compete.
I bet Coach would like you to have a good Wednesday practice on top of a good Tuesday practice. That'd probably be the next step to get headed down that direction. Judd, I think I want to speak for you, but I bet you're enthusiastic about these guys. That is 7 p.m. Friday at Lowry Field. We'll be back with the Westerner Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I got too long-winded there.